This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome in, Wolves fans, to GSPN Daily Wolves. It is I. Once again, it is me. I'm not the Messiah, but I am Chris. And with me, it's the original trilogy today. I haven't said the original duo. Will, don't get offended. The original trilogy, myself, Will and Nathan. So Nathan, I'll start with you over there because I can see your beaming face. How you doing? Nice. And what about you, Will? How you doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm even better now that I've heard that new jazzy intro that we just played. You can tell it's a Wildcard Wednesday.
Indeed. Well, yeah, we've got obviously, I'm sure, lots of things to discuss, but in a very short space of time, because you've all got very busy agendas. I don't. I'm a dad of two, and I've got no life. But these two do. So I'm going to dive straight in. And I gave my thoughts after the match at the weekend with a little solo reaction to the 1-1 draw with Everton. Will, I'm sure you've each got some thoughts to share, but if I start with you, have you got any thoughts from the game this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, aside from, I was going to say aside from the obvious, but no, I am going to lead with the obvious ones, in which, it was a decent point. It was always going to be a tough game. So it's good that we didn't lose. I think that was the main objective. Obviously, going in, it was one of those where, yeah, 3 points would have almost been 6 points if you like. Um, but it's a decent point, but a big missed opportunity because we could have gone 8 points clear of the relegation zone. I still don't think we're going to be in any trouble, but that really would have, I think, at least sort of signed, sealed, and delivered the safety for the season. I know not officially, but you know what I mean. It would have given us that extra breathing space. Aside from that, I just wanted to mention Andre because to me it was almost at times it was like one man stick. Obviously it wasn't quite that bad, but he looked he looked head and shoulders above everyone on the pitch, both for Wolves and for Everton. It reminded me, who it reminded me of, and I'm not going to say it, but it reminded me of someone, and yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen a player just looks that sort of out of his depth, but in a good way. That sort of above the level of everyone else. He just he really showed what he was capable of.
Yeah, he. I mean, I think he won the official man of the match anyway. But I said in my reaction that he was my man of the match because he was just all over the place. What I will say before we pass the baton to Nathan is that what I thought was in his early parts of his Wolves games, we saw the initial grit of what he does, just the like tracking, the defending, and laying it off. But he seems to have, as he's grown, and this might just be my imagination. You guys can tell me if you differ, but he seems to have, as he's got more comfortable in the team, understands more what his role is, and is getting more like to grips with the game in the Premiership. There was a couple of moments where we've seen a bit more range of his passing. There was one moment where he like pinged a ball out, like he'd got it off, tackled it off someone, kind of cut a few yards across midfield, and then almost on the fly, he was slightly off balance, but just whipped a ball out to the right wing. I think it was Semedo. It was
Yeah,
just designed for him
yeah.
to run onto the pace a bit, the whip on it. It was kind of like 40, 50 yards. And I was like, wow, where did that come from? It was just beautiful. And he seems to have just been eking a little bit. And we've seen a little bit more of what he's got in his locker. Did you get that, Nathan, as well? Yeah, yeah. I
Sorry,
thought you did
sorry.
well to say back, not behind. I thought you were smooth flying there, and then Will, yeah.
I had to take myself off mute. I took myself off mute specifically to let a little giggle out.
Anyway, Nathan, carry on, carry on.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, he's always the further back of the two, isn't he, Andre? Like, João Gomez, he's still not going to be as far forward as we see the likes of Manetzi driving into the box, but he does get more progressively forward around the edge of the box, and he pings in occasionally. We saw the goal the other week when he was, he was further forward, but Andre's never quite that far forward. He's always that last line of defense in midfield before the centre backs. He always just he'll go to like, what is it, 3/4 of the way up the pitch, and then he's like, nope, that's it, that's my zone right there. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Any other thoughts from the weekend, guys? I've opened the door up a little bit. Both mentioned everyone's mentioned Andre, but is there anything else? Manetzi scored his first goal. I mean,
yeah. That was same. But I was also going to mention I had 2 points. Those being one of which. Um, but I actually saw this actually more from Everton fans um, than from Wolves fans. But I think Agbadu again. Just you know, apart from, and I've mentioned this before, he will sometimes just leather it for like
mhm.
no apparent reason. Like he'll sort of fire it into Strand Larson, who can't hold up the ball best of times. But no, I thought for the most part, in fact, for all of it really, it was Nathan. What you said there about when Andre's playing, you feel safe when a ball goes through our defense, or if it's going over the top, or no matter what the situation, when you see Agbadu coming across, you feel safe. Do you know what I mean? Like you just know that we're going to be okay. Um, so yeah, I think it's worth us giving him a mention because of that. Yeah, yeah, mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah. Manetzi Edwards, as I tweeted out with the goal, because that run into the box, very Dave Edwards esque. Can't talk properly.
He was
Um,
sat in front of me, by the way, at the game. Dave. I didn't want to say hello to him. Didn't want him to, but it's been a few times now. And when Minetsi scored, I really wanted to I really wanted to say something then because, like I said, it was almost Yeah, it's spit an image in a way.
See, it's good to have Will back. There's always a name drop. There's always a name drop when Will's on the show. If he's not gone to the toilet with someone, then he's sat behind someone.
Well, he's been, it's not. I've seen him before and just sort of give a nod. But I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know what else you say really. No, I'm too awkward.
But yeah, Agbadu was my runner-up for man of the match. I think the main reason Andre definitely, I mean, his overall performance worthy of pipping the post anyway on that one. But in terms of Agbadu's performance, the one thing that let him down was a few of those passes forward, like I think Will mentioned. Some of them they're not always on target, or they're a bit the person's not expecting them, and actually their goal was preceded by an Agbadu pass out that was basically short of Larson. It didn't even get to him. It was just cut off by an opposing player, and that's the bit that led to their goal. And you could see Agbadu looking disappointed when the goal went in, because it literally was from his clearance. It wasn't even a clearance; it was like an intended pass out to midfield, but it was well short, and it was cut off, and then that's the bit that led to the goal. And that happened 2 or 3 times where it created dangerous opportunities from his out ball, where he's, like you say, he's hoofing it forward. Sometimes it's on target, but sometimes it's a little bit wayward. And like he pinged one to Larson, and he obviously wasn't ready. I know people are discussing him not holding up the ball very well, but there's a couple of times he's not even looking or expecting it, and someone's like Agbadu is just pinging it up there, and it's getting cut out quite easily.
Yeah, just on that, Chris. I don't know if you were. Sorry, go on, Nathan. Go on. Sorry. Okay. No, I was just going to say, I don't know if you were planning, Chris, on asking about Larson. As you said, you've seen that sort of debate going around. Um, I just, I'll throw my thoughts in here whilst we're on the topic. But I'm really sort of torn about him because, in one way, I mean, is it about 7 goals he's got?
Yeah, 7
Um,
goals. Yeah.
which for a team in our position, and for the job that he does being that lone striker and a very, very sort of old-fashioned number 9, if you like, you can't really argue with that too much. Just so long as he grabs a couple more before the end of the season, which you'd imagine he would or should do, you can't really argue with double figures in terms of goals. Um, but the issue I have, and the issue I think a lot of people have, is he's 6'5", sort of 90 kilos, and just seems scared when I don't know, I just think he's very lightweight for someone who's as big and strong as he should be. And I think it's even more frustrating because he shows that he can hold the ball up. When he does it very, very well. um but it's that sort of, he's very inconsistent with it, and the more times that's repeated, the sort of, the more he fails to hold up the ball, the the less you can defend it, really. And I do think it is becoming something of an issue, especially when we have a lack of depth in that position, a lack of options in terms of, if not him, then I think we saw the return of Huang, didn't we? But they're two very, very, very different footballers.
Yeah, yeah. Nathan, what I can see you've got. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. He was, I don't know if you heard the official interview that they put out with Larson
Yeah. Yeah.
last week. It was interesting, even him saying that there's times where in so many words, saying that they're not always playing to his strengths. That the crosses, there's sometimes only one or two crosses that come in a game, and he feels that those are a bit more of his bread and butter, where he's really, he's good at making that run and getting to the near post or whatever it is ahead of someone. But often, if he's the only one up front, the person is cutting back and not crossing in because they don't want to put it in and like 4-against-1 situation. But I don't know if you caught that, or anyone out there, but that was an interesting one. He felt that he was hoping they'll get a few more crosses in with the fact that Cunha's out and the change in formation. Well, the fact that they're going to have to maybe play to him a little bit more than they were because
Yeah.
Cunha's not there dropping deep.
Yeah. Just on that, I saw someone make a very, oh yeah, it's a very interesting point because I don't think it's wrong, and it makes you think. It makes you think. They said essentially that O'Neill got more out of Larson than Vitor is
Mm-hmm.
currently, and the numbers don't lie in that respect. And I just, I don't know, I just find that odd because you would have thought it'd be the other way around naturally, with Pereira seeming just a better manager. So I do find it strange how, as you said, we've not played to his strengths all the time, especially now with Cunha being out, as you just mentioned. You'd have thought that would be, Pereira would be getting not just more than O'Neill did out of him, but even more than that. So it's kind of, I don't know, I find it odd that it's just not really happening.
Yeah, that's
Mm, yeah,
Yeah, and I think under Vitor, we've arguably been even more Cunha centric at times, like just
yeah,
him having the
yeah,
run of the show and being able to go
yeah,
wherever he wants, pretty much, and be the goal machine. But now that he's got that suspension, and we're going to be looking ahead to the future without him, arguably after the summer, like you say, things are going to have to change. They're going to have to look a different way. Before we go anywhere else on the game or any of the other topics, let me just drop a quick message that's slightly overdue, but you're welcome.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Right now, and also right now, if at any point, Will, you need to shoot off, then just fly, because I know everyone's on a schedule, but we'll keep rattling along in the
no, so
meantime.
I'll stay to complain about the Wolves. It's okay.
No worries. Thank you. Cool. So we mentioned the stars of the show, Andre. We've mentioned Agbadu. We've touched on the Larson situation. Obviously, people can go back to the last episode for my more like full episode discussion on the match reaction. Was there anything else on the weekend's game, guys, before I touch on any other subjects that you wanted to go to?
Not for me, no.
Nathan? No, agreed. And I also think overall, I think my opening thought of the previous episode was the fact that if you'd have said to most people, I think before that game that we'd come away with a point, I think most people would have been happy. It just, Everton are in form. It's it's another point on the board just to get us that, I know it's not the 3, but it's better than anything is good. Just points on the board are precious. And I think it's a worthwhile thing, because now if we go and beat Southampton and everyone else loses again, that's what, like 9 points clear will be. So that could put us in a really, really good situation.
Yeah.
All right. It is indeed going to be the Wildcard Wednesday episode. So I'm relying on one, at least I'm probably looking at Will, because he's always got wildcard topics, but Nathan might have one. Was it what other topics are we bringing to the table today?
Well, Chris, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. We've done Barclays men, we've done favourite Wolves 11s. Now, a topic that winds me up, just in general, is modern football, Chris, and just the way that things are going, I think. And so I was just going to my plan was, because we've spoken about this before, there's been plenty of times where we've mentioned something and then I've said it could be a whole, episode in its own right. But something that I actually, to be fair, I remember coming out of the game on Wednesday and thinking I was relatively glad because I didn't see too much of this. But this is essentially pet peeves, your modern football pet peeves. What thing is it about the modern game when you think, Chris? Not to single you out here, but you may even have more of a view on this than myself and Nathan for no reason in particular. But I'm just thinking in the short time that I've been going down the Wolves, it's changed a lot. So yeah, does that make sense? Essentially, just what winds you up compared to football back in the day.
Gosh, I've got more of a back in the day to consider. There's a lot of years there. Nathan, I'm going to look to you first.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yes,
There you go.
yeah,
There you go. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add to that, but be even more specific? I'm going to do my best to explain this exact type of a dive, if that makes sense. But it just seems to me, and nothing winds me up more than this because it's just an easy way to kill sort of 30 seconds, if not longer, if you're the team in possession. But if you, let's say it's anywhere on the pitch, I think, especially when a defender is sort of in trouble of losing it, if they just shield the ball and just wait for an attacker to close them down from behind, as soon as they get sort of within half a yard and they just drop down, just fall on the ball. And I only really see that given, well, I say only really see it given in the Prem, but I think it's a sort of more widespread thing now. But nothing like winds me up more than that. Just when it's like, it's so blatant, that it's dive and everyone knows it. Yeah, it's just for some reason now accepted as like, it's almost part of the rules that is a foul somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I was about to go straight into my pet peeve, but I don't know if you want to respond to that, Nathan, before. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I know he did that. Yeah, I mean, the pet peeves, we could like literally we need to do this and make a whole list. I mean, one is obviously like, in relation to the diving thing, the fact when people go into the penalty area and because they're so set on trying to win the penalty, at times when they dive, when it'd actually be easier to score. You know, when you're looking for the foul, and like with Jota when Liverpool played against us, he probably could have scored if he stayed on his feet, but instead he tried to draw a penalty off Sarr. Like, just stay up. It's much easier, and that is really annoying. The other thing that I've touched on in previous episodes is the whole because the amount of penalties particularly given nowadays, because it's so much easier to win them because of all the diving and because of the change in the way that they adjudicate, contact and initiation, is the fact that I feel like the penalties being given when there is no chance of a goal scoring opportunity, and how I've mentioned this before, it should be some kind of like free kick inside the box or something, because we don't see those. You hardly ever see the free kick inside the box thing now, and I feel like there's some situations where penalties are given and there was no chance of that being, or like the amount of work that still had to be done for there to be a shot on goal, particularly if they're running away from goal and there's somewhere on the corner or the touchline. It's like, just let's not have a penalty for that. Let's just have a free kick of some kind.
Chris, I like that, because I think that's opened up a whole new sort of wildcard episode topic, because that was sort of less of a pet peeve, more of like a just complete rule change. Yeah, I like it though. I like it, and you know what? I understand it. It's not a bad shout. I think the overall worry on this whole like topic, you speak of the penalties, the Jota one, for example. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But even where there's ones that sort of, if it was in the box, they don't give it, but if it had sort of happened on the halfway line, they would, or vice versa, the other way around, and that sort of randomness. The bit that worries me is, and it's, Nathan, I think similar to the sort of point you were making about the classic old sort of Mick McCarthy days, was I think it's going to get to the point where it's just, and I think it pretty much already is there, where it's no longer a contact sport at that high level. Like, it's, to me, it's almost like basketball, where you can barely, like, make a tackle without it. It's like, I don't know, it's just so sanitized and in all the wrong ways. And there's definitely, steps like that need to be taken to cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, we're getting in, so many of them do revolve around refs and officiating, not even because of the officiating, just because of the way they're treated. Like you mentioned, and the inconsistency in it being penalised. We've mentioned this before, like when Arsenal gathered around after their sending off, literally the entire team was gathered around the ref, and there was
Yeah.
not one booking for dissent. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. So it's consistency, and it's the way that people are behaving. And on a side tangent to that, but in terms of just things that I don't like seeing in the game that I've never fully understood, and I know someone's told me a bit of medical stuff to find it, but I still don't believe it needs to be enough. Spitting, the amount of spitting
Yeah.
on the football pitch. Now, I've played sports. No, this is a genuine pet peeve. I have played a lot of
I
sports
agree.
of all different kinds, and like I don't understand. I don't understand. And again, it looks disgusting. And I watch it with kids, and they're like, "Why is he spitting?" Exactly. And they're like, "Oh, it's because they run
I
around too
have
much."
actually, Nathan. I have.
But you do not see it in other sports to the extent that you see it in football. It's just a thing that seems to have crept in over the years that people seem to think, I don't know, that it looks cool to do, or it's just a manly thing. I don't understand. But you go and watch other sports, it's very rare. Very rare.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yes, 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 yes. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what I was just about to add on was, do you ever, when you look at footballers and when they're on the pitch, like, and I'm talking the way they carry themselves, as you've both just mentioned, to like I don't know, haircuts and mannerisms and just everything. And then you just think if you were in any other walk of life, like there's no way you could look or act or talk the way you do, but because they're in the position they're in, they just get away with murder.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the football with my little kid, and, on the telly, and some of them are literally like Fleming all over the place. And they're like, "Dad, why are they doing that?" And I'm like, "I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I wish I had an
No,
answer for you, but I don't know." It's just disgraceful. And then you're sliding around in it. Think about all the slide tackles, all the things that go on. Everyone's just rolling around in their own spit. What's that about?
it's like what I saw at the rugby, actually, Nathan.
Anyway, sorry guys. You asked for pet peeves. I'm giving them to you. I'm going on a dad rant, but there you go. I'm
No,
done.
that's
I'm
fair
done.
enough. I'm
I'm
here
done.
for it.
Mm. Any more before we wrap up. In fact, while you think, let me just drop our other important message. Give you time to think some final thoughts. All right, guys, let's go around one by one then. So, Will, any final pet peeves before we wrap up the episode?
The only thing that made me think, because you said that was going to, sort of help generate my final pet peeve.
Mm-hmm.
And I fear that this may get us taken off the air for good.
Mm-hmm.
But can I have Zencastr as my pet peeve? But no, I've got none for right now anyway. And that can I just clarify for the listeners that was a joke.
Okay, Nathan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Mm-hmm. No, I like that one. And kind of in relation to that, in the destruction of the game, my final pet peeve is going to be to do with TV access to games. And by that I mean, oh, my team's game has been moved for television coverage. Where can I watch it? It's not available in your region. What? So you move games so it can be watched by more people, and it's not available to watch in the country of the place where the fans live, like the stadium is, that it is built and founded, and the most people want to watch it, and they cannot watch it legally because it's been moved for television country coverage that is only accessible elsewhere. It makes no sense. No sense.
Chris, the only alternative they have as well is to then, why don't we go to the game? You know, we'll get in the ground. Oh, it's 70 quid a ticket.
Yeah. But even then, Molineux only holds like 31,500.
Yeah.
And even if it's full, you still, like, it's moved for television coverage, so more people than that can go, that can fit in the stadium, and yet you still can't watch it because it's been moved for other nations. It's ridiculous. Just let me pay to watch it. Let me buy a subscription that allows me to watch my team when I want to watch it. Done. Job done. I'm rant over. I'm going to be here all day.
I think we're in a bit of darkness now, Chris.
We are in a bit of darkness. We are. Deep breath, people. Deep breath. That just remember, when we are in darkness, in this deepest darkness where British football is falling at our feet, just remember that out of darkness cometh light.